What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, the D here, aka the captain of the Thunder God Pirates, and it's Sunday. They're shonen, and you know what it is. But yet again, YouTube and stuff. Thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you like what you see and heard, because this podcast style, just a little audio. Just wanted to go over the chapter with you. But yet again, we're getting into it. One Piece, chapter 1034, Sanji versus Queen. Alrighty, in this chapter, we're a little all over the place. So, let's start. So we start at the Pleasure Hall, Left Brain's Tower in the Skull Dome. And in this one, it's kind of taking place where Sanji and Queen were having their battle. Right after, I guess, Sanji asked Queen about the Lunarians and everything went screwball. But here we see a couple of the escorts who were there in that portion of the Pleasure Hall, kind of scrambling. Yet again, there's a battle between two top tier fighters, so it's gonna cause a little collateral damage. So one of them is yelling, "Osame, step away, you'll get hurt. Let's hurry towards the back." And then Osame says, "No, not yet." She says that she still can't find Shuji. "Don't worry, I'm sure he's fine." And what another one says, hey, I'm sure he's fine. You'll focus on your own safety." And then we cut to an outer shot of the island floating. If there's any way to escape any way off this island, now's the time to make use of it, to escape Wano entirely. And someone's like, "Very wise, very wise." So then we cut over to Momonosuke, who's dragging the island. Now, who's pushing or dragging the island. Look, little motherfucker's doing something. Now, last chapter, I kind of missed it, but he'd actually already started. It wasn't focused on, but he'd actually already started. So, apparently, he's gotten a hold of his flame clouds and is actually starting to make pretty good use of them. He says, "Because I am a dragon just like him, I have grasped the knack of Kaido's flame clouds. I might not be able to push the island back up, but as long as I can stop its fall, the worst can still be avoided." And then we cut to the flower capital. People are still partying. Yet again, I'm surprised that nobody just randomly looked up and just say, "Oh, holy shit, there's Onigashima kind of flying through the air." But he ends by saying that he won't let it fall in the flower capital. Now we cut to the performance floor inside the Skull Dome, to where the beasts are kind of, it seems like a lot of them are kind of, savvy to what's happening, like, "Yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here." While the samurai on the other hand, like, hold line, keep them in. Now, in the Pleasure Hall, yet again, the Left Brain Tower, we see Queen, yet again, firing attacks off at Sanji. He uses Sparking Queen, which I think might be, well, not his first, because I think he used that Brachio thing where he turned into a goddamn snake, and I'm still like, "Oh, you don't know how dinosaurs work, good God." He uses an attack called Sparking Queen, where he fires beams from his eyes. And as Sanji dodges, he's like, "Wait a minute, that looks familiar." And we flash back to, it looks like it might be, well, again, everything's black and white. It looks like that might be Ichiji using Sparking Valkyrie, to fire beams from his eyes. And then Queen comes in for another Henry Queen, where he extends his neck and hits Sanji, and it's electrified. And yet again, as Sanji's being electrified, he thinks back to Niji, Henry Blazer, which is a similar technique that Niji has. As Sanji falls down, Queen's laughing. "You get it now?" And yet again, he keeps firing off beams from his eyes. As Sanji's dodging, he's like, "Yeah, I'm using Germa's moves. I was saving the episode after he transformed. See, Judge's sons are like the amalgamation of all his scientific tech. If I'd beaten you to a pulp while you wore that suit, I could have proven something to Judge, that I am the superior scientist, right, Stealth Black?" As Sanji's dodging, he's still firing beams. And then Sanji's like, "Look, I don't care about your stupid rivalry with my father. He wouldn't say that my father, he'd say that man, leave me out of it." So then Queen grabs Sanji using his mechanical claw that's coming out of his arm. I played dumb about it earlier, but the plain truth is I've already researched and tested all of Germa's science. I can recreate any move you brothers can do. And then Sanji's like, look, stop treating me like, I'm one of them. I'm not. So then Queen says winch, in the which Sanji remembers Yonji, winch guillotine, which Queen's version is winch queen. And Sanji then uses Diable Jambe to actually break through Queen's claw. To which it seems like Queen's actually hurt. Like it's not just like, oh, he's just gonna shrug it off. It's like, no, he actually he's like, hey, my hand. He's actually hurt. So Sanji's on the ground wheezing, and Queen's angry, like, you snotty little brat. So as Sanji's getting up, he's like, I warned you. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. Not to say their names around me. And I find this kind of funny. Queen says there's no such thing as freedom of speech anymore. Now, I kind of think that's a riff on kind of what's happening, I think that's kind of a riff on current events. No matter where you fall on the comedy thing, that whole space, what a joke is, can jokes be harmful? I think it's kind of like a subtle riff. I don't know if that was originally intended in the original Japanese, or if that's just a translation, but I think that's where it comes from, and it's kind of interesting. Like, oh, I can't say something just because it's gonna hurt, but just you might not want me to say it. But hey, yet again. So Sanji then attacks Blanchette Flare, hits Queen square in the gut, and actually manages to knock him back a little. But yet again, that's not going to be enough to end it. So Sanji's like, see, you're not always going to be the one who's above me. He says there's no way the attack I landed on you earlier didn't do lasting damage. And he's like, yeah, look, we've been fighting for a while and you're pretty banged up. Because remember, prior to this, Queen and King were actually fighting Marco, so they're not at 100%. Yet again, I don't think Marco did the type of damage to make it the fights easy for them, but he definitely helped even the odds. So and Sanji goes on to say, I've accepted my fate, and I'm not the same person that you were fighting under the dome. Pretty much like, look, this is happening to me. I can't change it. I don't know what's wrong, but it is what it is. But as he's saying this, Queen's huffing, but he smiles and begins to disappear. So Queen then expounds, then show me how different you really are. The next one's your specialty. Stealth Black. So it's kind of interesting that Queen has all of these abilities. It's kind of weird. Well, not kind of weird, but it's kind of fitting. Because okay, well, not fitting. It puts things in perspective of the timeline. So apparently, at some point in the past, Sanji's only 19. No. Him and Zoro are 21. Luffy's 19. So, within the last 21 years, probably close to 17 to 18 years. Hell, probably not even that long. Well, probably, yeah, 17, 18, or even more. Look, within the last 17 or less, more, anyway. What I'm trying to say is, it seems like Queen has had a chance to either observe the brothers, or because he knows, yeah, I know all your techniques, all the brothers' techniques. I'm like, wait a minute, the fuck? So about Judge's technology. Yet again, I know he worked with him, but he specifically mentions, I know the brothers' techniques. So either he's been around them within the past few years. So there's a few possibilities. One, he was around Sanji and them when they were children, and when their power started to manifest, he kind of watched them. B, which I think might be maybe more likely, when Judge was making all this technology back when they were still a group with Vegapunk, pretty much he probably said, hey, you're whenever he planned this out, he was planning on what abilities his kids were gonna get. He was like, okay, so this kid's gonna get this gonna get this, and then his rivalry with Judge, okay, I'll steal all that and I'll be able to beat any of them. Or option C, whenever the German were out on missions, whenever he could, he'd spy on them. But even then, this is why I say that option 2 is probably the most likely because you knew about Stealth Black. And apparently, like I said, besides the comic, Sanji never used it until now. So I doubt Queen would have had the time to analyze and reproduce it if he just saw Sanji back on Wano. So he most likely, he's either been around them or Judge may have had all this planned out and he just took it. But anyway, back to current events. Sanji's like, motherfucker, I can do that too. And then he wave dashes, or flash steps as I like to call it. And Queen, even Invisible's like, he did it too. But then he quickly gains his composure, like, you know what? He doesn't have the suit on, so he can't use a Stealth Black power. He's just moving at ultrasonic speeds. So he's moving so fast, I can't see him. So Queen's like, okay, whatever. So since that's the case, the moment he's visible again, is going to be the moment that he's out of stamina. He can only keep this up for so long. Moving at that speed where you're literally invisible. Not you're a blur, you're invisible. So he's like, okay, he's just moving around the room constantly at supersonic speed. He can't keep this up forever. I'll just wait. And then boom. So then we see a rat run across the battlefield, and then we see Miss Osame, or Chosame, whatever her name was. It turns out the Chuji that she was looking for was this rat. Now, I think like Chu or something. I think Chu's one of the words. I know one form of Chu can mean super, but Chu can mean like mouse or rat. So her little rat friend is who she was looking for. So she doesn't know, like when she popped up, Sanji was moving at ultrasonic speeds and Queen was invisible. So she thought, okay, they aren't here, but in actuality, she's right there in the midst of the battle. So she's like, okay, nobody's here. Let me go ahead and get Chuji. Like, hey, I don't know when to start fighting again. Yet again, she doesn't know they're there. So then Queen's like, oh, Osame. So that Husky's on her feet again. How dare she turn down all of my patronage all those dozens of times. She even did it earlier today. And then Queen starts walking over, the floor creaking, yet again trying to stay silent. With Giacomo Arasaki gone, you're my number one girl, Osame. They said you were off work due to a headache this morning, which made it very suspicious that you were just walking around just fine. So apparently King, like godly, yet again, he's a guy, but his name is Queen. Queen doesn't like being told no, which powerful men in his position often don't. Guys, no means a no. Shouldn't have to make up excuses. She says no, leave it the hell alone. Go find somebody who wants what you want. But he then goes on to say, my divine punishment earlier, not enough? We'll see how you look. You like another one. So then Sanji he's moving around and he's using Geppo. And he's like, okay, so what do I have now? I have an exoskeleton, muscle, and speed, all of which will increase strength. Add the color of armor hockey I've developed to the exoskeleton, and my legs are tougher, capable of supporting even hotter flames. And then, instead of Diable Jambe, Sanji's upgraded his ability, Ifrit Jambe. So then he makes a beeline towards Queen. Faster acceleration, heavier weight. And he overhears everything that, he sees Queen and he's able to deduce what happened earlier. It wasn't him who hit old girl. He was in front of her, yes. Reaching towards her, yes. But the one who made contact was Queen, being a salty bitch because old girl didn't want to service him. So he's like, oh, so Sanji puts it together. Oh, you did that, you miserable piece of human scum. He used Kolia Ku, making direct contact with Queen. And then Queen becomes visible. She's like, oh, Queen? So then Sanji just proceeds to unload. Bases Kot Blast. Peloton Pound. And hold up, I know I'm mispronouncing these names. I know that. I only took French for 1 year in middle school and I didn't really fuck with it. So yet again, please Don't come for my neck if you're in Europe, specifically France. I don't speak French. Juma a Viftek Blitz. Yeah, I'm trying. Tendron Tenderizer. Blanchette Flare. I mean, Sanji's just unloading with this new Ifrit Jambe. Ke Crippler. Pore Poker. Jared Jarrer. Now fly, sicko. Boof Burst. And ends the chapter with Sanji sending Queen flying using the Ifrit Jambe. Now, I don't think this fight's over by a long shot, but I definitely think Sanji's onto something. So pretty much Sanji's fight is about accepting his gifts. He doesn't like it. He hates this. He associates the Germa with being monsters. But at least right here in this moment, it's helping, because everything that he's gained now has helped him upgrade his move. So, because I remember when he first, when he first activated Diable Jambe, back on in his lobby, because even afterwards, his leg was kind of hurting from it. But now that he has an exoskeleton, it's allowing him to actually achieve greater heights, and most likely with fewer drawbacks. But yes, so everything's moving smoothly. So now we have an answer to that mystery of, did Sanji actually hit a woman? No, Sanji would never hit a woman. And I think we all kind of knew, like, bro, there's something going on here. Maybe Queen got to her, maybe there was something else, and Sanji's got blamed. Maybe it's a trick. So it wasn't a trick, it was Queen just being salty. Like, come on, bruh. But yes, so Queen, yet again, being a nasty individual on another level, and Sanji being the stand-up good guy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to how this fight, continues. I'm really hoping Sanji puts back on the suit. I like the Germa suit. That's the thing. See, me, I'm the type of person, like, okay, even if it's something that I don't like in an anime, I'd be the one to use a cursed power. It's like, look, it's just because I don't like something doesn't mean it can't be useful to me. So I'm hoping he puts it back on, but I don't know. This might just be the way Oda just, plays it for here on out. But anyway, that's going to conclude this week's chapter. And yet again, I don't think we have another break. Let me see real quick. Let me see. Yep, next chapter coming in 7 days. So yeah, we got a chapter coming next week. No breaks, although Black Clover is on break this week, which breaks my heart. Oh, and in case you made it this far, I read today, December 5th, chapter of My Hero Academia, and yeah, I'm about to get on that recap video and talking about today's chapter, because yeah, that shit was fire. Anyway, without further ado, this has been your boy the D. Thank you so much for listening to me. Signing out. See ya.